Right, welcome into this demonstration of the Goblin Trapfinder combo. You see me here, I am mid-game. I paired up against Sparky and set up the combo so that I could show you guys how this actually works. Sparky is growing very impatient. That's alright, they're just gonna have to wait for quite a while actually as I go through all the steps here. So, I already recorded a deck tech and posted that video. That one goes much more into depth on like the specific card choices and like how we built the deck around the combo. It also briefly explains the combo. This video is going to explain the combo in detail for someone who might be looking to play the deck. So what is the combo here? Well, I've used Goblin Trapfinder, which when it dies, I get a random creature card with mana value of 3 or less from my deck into my hand and reduce its cost by 2. It will die at end of turn, it will also gain haste. Those don't matter too much right now. Mostly I just get a creature card from my deck that I have reduced cost. I've actually like sacrificed a few Trapfinders now. And I've used them to find both my combo pieces. That's kind of the neat thing about Trapfinders, that if you draw enough of them, you can kind of like find all your combo pieces with them. So I have hit a Burgi, which 3 mana 3/3, whenever you cast a spell, you get a red mana. That's the most important part of this right now. It is reduced to just 1 mana of the Trapfinder. That's not necessary part of the combo, but it is pretty nice in this specific spot. And then I've hit my Ominous Traveler. So this is like the real combo piece here. It's a very wild and complicated card. So it's a 2 mana 1/1. Reprint the card, let's do that. 2 mana 1/1. When it comes into play, you get a card from its spellbook. Its spellbook is actually pretty important here. I'm going to like go over and show you the cards. The spellbook here contains a bunch of like vampires and oh, there we go. A bunch of vampires, zombies, werewolves, spirits from Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow. It is a selected pool of 15 cards. All right. Importantly, there are 2 of these creatures that cost 1 mana. This is very important. It's this one and the Falconworth Pitfighter. There are 4 creatures here that cost 2 mana. They're all pretty random, but they're there. And there are most of the creatures here cost are going to cost 3 mana, and then you have some breaks like this. You know, 6 mana creature, this 4 mana creature, and there is a spirit that is a 5 mana creature. We just ran past that. So there's 3 things that cost more than 3. There is 2 1-drops and there's 4 2-drops. All right, this is important. The rest of them, that would be the remaining 6 cards, cost 3 mana. The most important one of these is going to be the Dominating Vampire, but I'll get to that later. That is how we actually make sure we win this turn. So, yeah, so when Ominous Traveler comes into play, the game will show you 3 of these 15 cards. At random, you don't have a choice about that, but you do have a choice about which of those 3 you will pick. That card you pick goes into your hand, it turns colorless. Essentially, you can spend mana as though it was mana of any color to play that card. And when you play the card you get off Traveler, Traveler jumps back into your hand. Now it's a 0 mana Traveler. That is a much more efficient engine than if it's just 2 mana. And it's actually so efficient that if you have Burgi, whenever you cast your 0 mana Traveler, you gain a mana. And then when you cast the thing you get off Traveler, you get another mana. This means that whenever you hit something that costs 2 mana off the Traveler, you will essentially go like even on mana, right? Because you spend 2 mana to play your random 2-drop vampire, but you gain the mana from that and you gain the mana from the Traveler, which jumps back into your hand. So you can keep going again, and then you can like make another 2-drop and so on. The odds here are really important. You are, I believe it's about like 82% to find something that costs 2 or less out of the pool. There's 6 options here, right? 2 1-drops, 4 2-drops. So you're about 82% to hit one of those, which means that most of the time you can keep going. 82% is not guaranteed though. That's not at all like deterministic and lethal. But there's also 2 1-drops here, and they're important because when you hit a 1-drop off your Traveler, you're actually netting 1 mana. That means that whenever you have a pool where you're forced to take a 3-drop, you will have the extra mana to pay for that. So you will actually be able to keep going. there are just 3 things that cost more than 3, so it's extremely unlikely that you hit those specific 3. The chances of hitting a pull, the chance of hitting a 1-drop is 37%, and the chance of not having a 2-drop is like, well, I said it was 82% to have 2-drop or less. So the chance that like you're stuck with having to pick a 3-drop is 18%. So those are the numbers here, right? Like 37% to hit a 1-drop, 18% to break and have to pick a 3-drop. This means that over time, like, we're essentially netting mana, because it happens more often that we pick a 1-drop that nets us mana than we are forced to pick a 3-drop, which is going to cost us mana. Okay, so that's the way that you can like keep spamming things to the board. Now let's actually play this out here. Let's imagine I'm not playing against Sparky right now. Instead, I'm playing against Greasefang. That went turn 3, Greasefang Parhelion, attacked us for 13. We are dead next turn. We have to win right now. But that's okay, because I've set up my Trapfinders and I've set up my combo, and I can win right now. What you're aiming for is that you have Bergie in hand or in play. But Bergie in hand with a Traveler, and you have enough mana to play Bergie and have at least 1 mana left over. 1 mana left over is not super safe ground for comboing, because you need to hit, because then you would need to hit the 1-drop before you're forced to take a 3-drop, right? Because you only have 2 mana to work with. Why am I saying 2 mana? Well, if I say, like, if you have a Bergie with 1 mana left over, you play that. Then you play a Traveler, you gain +1 mana, right? So you have 2. But then, if your Traveler shows you a selection of all 3-drops, then you're brick and you can't go off anymore. So you have to hope you hit the 1-drop before the 3-drops. So playing Bergie with 1 mana left over, you're still favored to be able to win from that position, because you are more likely to hit 1-drops than you are to be stuck with 3s. But it's not guaranteed. If you play Bergie and you have 2 mana left over, it's not that hard to set up. Bergie with 2 mana left over, that is when the combo is like almost guaranteed to work. The only time I've had it fizzle from that position was actually when I was trying to set up this video against Sparky earlier. That's the only time I fizzled from that position. So I had to scrap that video, because that obviously like didn't really show the combo how it should be. Right now we have because we only have a 1 mana Bergie, we actually have like 3 mana left over. So that is more than enough here. So I'm going to play out my discounted Bergie here and play out Traveler. So immediately we get a red mana, we get a selection here. Let's see how this works. So of course I get pretty lucky here, and I hit a 1-drop here. So you're almost like in the beginning, you're just going, whenever you see a 1-drop, you just take that. You don't really have to think, you just do that. It's very important with this combo. And by the way, as you can see there, I spent the 1 mana, Ominous Traveler jumped back into my hand, now I can go again. The only difference is I have 1 extra mana in my pool. So I generated a mana because it was a 1-drop that I hit. The thing is that when you're comboing on Arena, there is the rope, so if you take too long to make decisions, like that will pop up, but you're obviously like making decisions pretty quickly when you do this, because you don't really have to think, you just like, you know, learn the patterns. However, there's also a cap. A turn can last a maximum of 6 minutes before the rope starts running, forcibly, and then it won't stop. So you got 6 minutes to be able to kill your opponent. That is very doable. Most of the time, you're going to be able to do that and kill them through the blockers. The end game that we're working towards is this card, the Dominating Vampire. Comes into play, gains control target creature with mana value less than or equal to the number of vampires you control. Untap the creature gains haste. So basically, like, it's an act of treason, but on a vampire. There are, like, you know, 3 other vampires in the pool, so you are going to be able to, like, build up a vampire count so that you can take whatever it is. So if your opponent has some big blockers, well, eventually you're just going to be able to steal those with the Dominating Vampire, and you're going to be able to steal your own creatures, like give your own creatures haste. That's why this Champion of the Perished comes in, because there's also 4 zombies in the pool. So a lot of time you'll hit a zombie and grow your champion, and eventually that will grow pretty big. So you only need like 1 or 2 champions, you give those haste with the Dominating Vampires, you steal the blockers, that will be enough to end the game. Alright, so with all that explained here, now I'm just gonna go for it. Right now I'm against Sparky, so it is So it's not time that I can just take as much time as I want. But if I was playing in a match, I would just be like going rapid fire immediately, not think. Right now, I just see this. You can never take the Wolfkin Outcast. The other two are just blanks. I just tend to take the Patrician's Guest because it's like usually better if you end up with a lot of them, but it doesn't really matter. You just take a free drop. And now we hit a 3-drop, right? So that's going to cost us 1 mana. So we play this. Traveler jumps back into our hand. And now we have 2 mana in pool. Same as where we started after we cast the Berkey. 2 mana in pool. It's 2 red mana instead of 2 black mana. And the Traveler back in our hand. So this is what we got, right? Like, yo, we've completed like 1 step of the loop and we're left with this. That's not like very impressive, but the thing is that we can keep going. So I'm going to keep going here. Going to keep hitting more things. Hit a 1-drop. Snap take a 1-drop there. And that's mainly the thing. There are other options that we'll see as we go through the combo here, where the options actually matter. Okay, so here we again hit like some free drops. Here I'm going to take Headless Rider. It's a zombie. So when in doubt, try and prefer zombies when you already have your Champion of the Perished in play, because you need to work that up really big. Headless Rider is better than Archghoul. Not in this specific position, but in general it's a better card. And if you have some way to sacrifice, you can actually like generate more zombies that way to trigger your champions. Alright, so now again we're back in the same spot. The champion grows, but our board is getting bigger, right? You can see where this goes. And we have a lot of like extra mana for safety. So again we hit a 3-drop. Like that's a little bit unlucky, but it's fine. We haven't hit a 2-drop yet, which is like not that likely that that specific thing would happen. But we had hit a couple 1-drops, so we're still fine. Alright, so now I hit a 1-drop. I could also take a 2. Again, the 2-drops make you even on mana, so they're always free to take. You can just take them and go again. The only thing that they cost is a little bit of time. So that's only really relevant once you've comboed for a long time. So I'm going to play this. Falconwrath, it's a vampire, so it's going to... That's what I'm saying, like, you know, you very easily, you know, now I already have enough vampires to be able to steal my opponent's blocker. Right? That's not going to be an issue. Alright, play the Traveler again. Hit a bunch of more 3-drops, but I'm going to take the zombie this time. Alright, so right now, you know, we've just been, we've just hit a lot of 1-drops and 3-drops here. That's alright. We just keep going. Eventually we're gonna get there. Alright, so now we just take a 2-drop. Notably, the 2-drop I picked there, I'll show you next time it comes up. There was just Shipwreck Sifters, which is the spirit that when it comes to play, you draw a card, discard a card. If you have the option, like if it's the only 2-drop, you probably just pick it most of the time. But if you have the option, take another 2-drop, because the Shipwreck Sifters will take time to resolve, because you have to like resolve the trigger, draw a card, discard something, and that time is valuable. Again, you only have 6 minutes. With practice, it should be easy, but... Okay, so here we have one of the best 2-drops to get. Blade Stitch Scarp. This one pumps up your zombies, so it makes it easier to get to the kill. So we grab this one. Again, it's free, because it's 2 mana. Like, we play this, bounce the Traveler to our hand, play it again, we're back to 2 mana. But as you can see, our Champion of the Perished is growing pretty big here. So it won't be long before it's actually going to be able to win the game here. And now I'm going to go through the combo, like try and go a little bit faster. Obviously, like I'm limited by the speed of the animations. But you can see as soon, like that is the speed you have to do, right? You register the 1-drops, right? As soon as you see a 1-drop, you just immediately pick it. It's only like once you get to the end of the combo, you might be looking for dominating vampires. Right, so here, 2 bricks and a 2-drop. That's fine. We take the 2-drop, we go again. It's alright. You know, like this 3/3 is, it's a 3/3 defender. It's not going to like add to our board. It's just, you know, going to be there. Now, you might think, okay, well, in most scenarios, wouldn't like this be enough? Like, look at how quickly our board grew, right? This I would be able to do in like a minute or so. Or maybe 2. Like grow a board like this, and that's like almost insurmountable. And yeah, but there are cases like maybe you're playing against a combo deck. I said like against Greasefang, maybe they'll have flyers, and like you can't, you know, you're not guaranteed to get enough flyers. So you could stop here. You could absolutely stop here, and that'll probably be enough to win anyway. If you like, you know, value your time, maybe you don't want to combo through it, sure. The combo is like still pretty fast and fun to go through, so might as well just continue with it. There is another thing that can happen. Sometimes you like end up attacking first, because like you do need a combat step, right, to make this combo work. Sometimes against control, you attack first to make them tap out, and then you're now comboing post combat. That's kind of awkward against control specifically, because they're actually the ones who can deal with this board. They have the card called Divine Purge and Supreme Verdict. Divine Purge is it's a 3 mana, like just basically exile all things that cost 3 or less. Well, that's like, you know, our entire board right now. And then Supreme Verdict, which destroys all creatures. You can, however, defeat this. Okay, so now we're gonna check a Dominating Vampire. This is the first one we've seen, actually. You can, by the way, see it was kind of dire before on my mana, but in the meantime, I've hit like enough 1-drops, and now my mana is super safe, right? Now I've just generated some amount of mana, and you know, I have so much mana to work with now that I can't really break from this point. So I'm going to play this Dominating Vampire. Just gonna start by stealing my opponent's blocker, but you can also give haste to your to a Champion of the Perished. So what I'm doing while I'm comboing here is that I'm also trying to count how much damage I have. So I'm counting, you know, the blocker I stole, that's 1 damage. I'm counting the Ominous Traveler, it has haste. It gains haste from the Trapfinder. So that's plus 1 damage. And I'm counting the Berkey, which also has haste from the Trapfinder. Okay, so that's 5 damage. So right now, my Champion of the Perished is 10. So I have 15 damage as soon as I find another Dominating Vampire. And this one is 5 damage, right? So I just need to, yeah. So now I hit this vampire. Actually, I should probably pause there. But notice that there was a 2-drop I could have taken there. But right now, I'm close enough to the kill. I have enough mana that I'm going to prefer Dominating Vampires over 2-drops. So yeah, once you're like safe enough, you can start doing that, and that's really what you want to do, because at some point you're only like the only way to stop your combo is the clock, and that's when you like have to like start thinking about like what are your attacks and like, you know, start taking the Dominating Vampires really aggressively. You don't know when you will hit a Dominating Vampire. It's not like cyclical like that. It is just random. So you might have to do this 10 times before you hit a Dominating Vampire. You saw like how many times I did this? I didn't see a single vampire for most of these. Or Dominating Vampire specifically. And that can definitely happen. So sometimes you have to like take it when you see it sometimes, if you like need to beat the clock here. But right now, you know, we've already given haste to one of these. So now we just need to like find another Dominating Vampire, and then we can attack for lethal. The other thing we can do is just hit enough zombies so that our Champion of the Perished grows big enough. Actually, I just realized something. So I'm going to like cut this short. Okay, I'm not. I do have a claim the firstborn. I can just claim my own Champion of the Perished here. But I'm also, just for good measure, going to play this. Give haste to, I guess, this guy, because he's 5 power. Alright, and now I can just go into an attack. Actually, sometimes remember that you have to play your Traveler for lethal, but yeah, that's how the combo works, okay? How long did this video take? Alright, 20 minutes to explain these things. Yeah, I mean, I hope it was worth a watch. I hope you learned something. It's definitely very interesting. I didn't quite finish the thing I wanted to say about blue-white control, but you can actually beat their sweepers. There are, I showed you like 3 things that cost more than 4 mana. More than 3 mana. Those are going to be immune to Divine Purge. So what you want to do is that you want to try and grab a werewolf, specifically Tovalar. That's the only like cheap werewolf that costs 3 mana in the pool. Try and grab that at some point. That means that the 6 mana werewolf, it says it costs 2 mana less if you control another werewolf. So now that's 4 mana. 4 mana is manageable, right? You can see like this game we've kind of had enough mana that we could pay 4 mana for a hit at least a couple times. And that's a 5/4, right? It's a pretty big board. So once you get a couple of those big werewolves down, they can Divine Purge your board, and you still have these 5/4s left over that can like kill them potentially. But you're still weak to Supreme Verdict. So what you also want to do, which you're gonna do quite naturally, is set up a bunch of zombies and Headless Rider. So that means that if they do cast Supreme Verdict, you just get a bunch of zombies and you kill them anyway. So it is actually possible to set up a board that's not weak to any of those sweepers. You can still die to like Farewell, for instance, if it's like late enough in the game. But yeah, maybe you can just like set up so that you can combo off again the turn after. I don't know, but anyways, it's definitely like, you know, sometimes you also do this combo and you're very low on resources, and you just like maybe hit like a few 2-drops, and then you kind of fizzle. You get a 3-drop in hand, you can play that next turn. Sometimes you're gonna have to win just with like random beats of these cards you get off the Traveler. But luckily, you don't need that much before you've actually had a big enough advantage, because you are playing kind of a mid-range deck. So just take the many creatures before it's going to be enough to overwhelm the opponent. You'll see that also if you watch the games. There are some of my games that are just super scrappy, playing with like, you know, 4 random things of my Traveler and kind of like combining them. It happens quite a lot actually. Especially with just the natural 2-mana Traveler trying to just like gain some value in games where you're not drawing very well. But yeah, this is the specific combo for like how to play the deck in general. Go watch my videos. Do remember that like this is not an all-in combo deck. Like this was a turn 4 kill in this Goldfish game here, but the turn 4 kill doesn't happen that often. It's not really what we're going for. It does happen sometimes, and it's super nice that you have that option, but we are, after all, also a mid-range and grindy deck, and we can just like interact with the opponent and then set up to combo eventually. Usually most games are ended by the combo, not always. You can win the fairway, but knowing how to combo is still really important for the spots where it's super dire and you need to combo right now, otherwise you die. Alright, well, that's it for me now. See you in the matches.